Hi guys, Steve Ormosi
How are you?
and Scott Thriller.
How you doing?
Alright, this is the first interview for Life After Death. Steve, you had conceptualized Life After Death. Can you explain to us the process of creating it?
Well, I had the initial idea a long time ago. I mean, not that long in comparison, but 2 or 3 years ago. I wanted to do a novel about zombies, but I wasn't really ready to take on a project like that yet. And Life After Death was more of a thing that I could kind of look into all the different tropes that encompass zombie movies or post-apocalyptic movies, and I could kind of explore them all in their own separate stories, you know. So I basically told you guys about it, and you were both really excited about it, and that's how we kind of got started doing this. And
sorry, I'll interject. Because we love zombies and also like to write.
Pretty much, yeah. So we kind of all started writing the stories, and the plot lines and storylines kind of just came up out of that, out of the first ones that we did. I mean, I think all of our original concepts and ideas were a lot different than what we eventually came out with. But I think it's turned out really well, and it's definitely helped. At least my writing has gotten better because of it, which I'm happy about, and hopefully it continues to get better as we get deeper into the stories and plot lines that we're developing for LAD.
Alright, Scott, how did you get involved in Life After Death?
Well, you have just heard the first half of it. As Steve said, we were all kind of a little writing circle group, if you will, who are interested in the same kind of things in terms of literature, in terms of genres, i.e. zombies and horror, general, of course, post-apocalyptic. So, being that we're trying to improve ourselves as artists and as writers, I thought it was an awesome way to start up, to see where it took us, and it was a pretty bumpy ride, but we saw it through, and I think the greatest thing, as Steve said, it just helps us become better writers, and we're becoming one now as we continue to work on it, and seeing, as it develops, where it takes us, where we can go with characters, storylines, and settings, and just see how we can improve ourselves, and improve ourselves, that is, also get ourselves out there as a brand, as LAD Publishing perhaps, and maybe branch out into other things, but of course this is our main project, and we're focusing on it, putting a lot of time, effort, and research into it, and just see where it goes and where it takes us and in what way.
Alright, what separates your work from the mass quantity of other zombie-related material? Why should we read Life After Death over any of the others?
Well, I think a big thing is that it's not solely a zombie, book. It's not solely zombie stories. It's more about the people after the zombies have already massacred and destroyed the world. So you see a zombie movie, and a lot of times it's about people running away and being scared for their lives, but most people don't stop to think what happens to those people afterwards. They're still equally screwed. And that's kind of what we're trying to deal with, like the putting back together of society after
The rebuilding.
Yeah, exactly. After its destruction, pretty much. Seeing how people deal with that destruction, not only on their own personal level, but on a societal level as well.
Anything to add, Scott?
No, pretty much. Actually, I think one of the lines from one of Steve's stories goes as such, if I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, once the apocalypse becomes mundane, world peace goes out the window, which I think pretty much sums up what we're trying to explore. As he said, most of the other genres, or the other things in the genre that you'll see, read, hear about, is about people struggling, running away, like it's just all action, but it doesn't really explore how it would be like to live and try to regain humanity itself as, a species, pretty much, now that they're fighting this threat that they've never had to face before. Like, how do you fight something like that? What's it like to have to live through something like that? I think that's what makes LAD kind of stand out, or a little bit different from all the other zombie-related things and apocalyptic-related things out there, is that we're exploring our characters, not just fighting. They are fighting zombies, but that's sort of only a little part of it. You know, it's not the entire thing. It's not the be-all, end-all. So I think that's something we're trying to do to kind of inject our setting and our world with a little bit different spin and see how that goes and how we can explore themes within that.
You mentioned characters and how it's a character-driven story. Either among your own writing or your fellow writers' writing, redundant, what are some of your favorite characters from Life After Death?
Well, I'll go first. I'm a big fan of the man behind the camera right now. He has a character named Theo, which is he introduces him in the first story of issue 1, and I think we discussed this. It was interesting because you, as a writer, did not like this character, but me, as a writer, myself, that is, reading the story, I sort of identified with him. So that a little interesting aside, but I would have to say Theo stood out initially as a character that I liked. I obviously like my character, unnamed, of course, in the first story, but the readers will get his name later on. So, of course, being that it was my first character and the one I put probably most time developing and getting a feel for, obviously I have an affinity for him as a character, and I don't know. I think we have more characters to come that we haven't even seen yet, so we may surprise ourselves with what comes out.
For me, I'm always kind of self-conscious or self-degrading about my own stuff, so it's tough to pick one of my characters. But in terms of your guys' characters, I love the drunk. He's great, always good for a laugh, and laughs are important, especially after the end of the world. And for Scott, actually, I think my favorite character here so far is one that was introduced before, but just got his first actual story as Strizzy.
Oh yes.
In his stall.
You like it?
Yeah, I don't know. I like that story. I like his kind of mindset.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. I guess my favorite character that I've written so far is Bruce Jenkins, who is supposedly
He's a good character.
the mayor's brother. I don't want to give anything away, but
Spoiler alert.
that
For anyone who's watching.
that's not necessarily confirmed.
Don't worry, no one's watching.
That's not necessarily confirmed yet, so I don't know. A lot more stuff to come from him in the future. That should be good.
Who's your favorite character, Ian? J. Ian Manzer?
Well, I'm not self-conscious. I love my own writing, so I love everything I've ever created.
But who's your favorite character? Or a character that you like?
I particularly agree with Steve that the drunk is perhaps one of my most brilliant creations.
Can you tell?
In all modesty.
Can you tell our no fans what the drunk's actual name is in story 2?
Mike Allen, which I don't think aside from my personal commentary on my website, I don't think I've ever mentioned his full name. In fact, that might confuse people because I do mention him as Mike in this coming week's
I think you
Volume 4.
I think you might have said his name.
I didn't say his name in the drunk,
No?
the original one.
No, it doesn't.
Now, speaking of what you're grabbing right now, not you, Scott, Steve.
Let the viewers see.
What are you holding right now?
This is the first volume, and we
Of Life After Death, that is.
right of Life After Death, the magazine. The first two we actually put out in physical form. We've since gone to We've since gone to putting them up on the internet on a blog that we have. I think we're going to be moving websites soon though, so
That is correct.
look out for that. But yeah, this is just this is the first issue. I think this is what I'm going to be reading from today.
We were all reading excerpts of issue 1.
Right.
Is there any future? Now, you mentioned that you're going from. You went from a physical magazine to an online publication. Is there any future plans to return to a physical representation of Life After Death?
Yes. In fact, I think after the 6th or possibly 7th issue, we're gonna do a collected edition in kind of a novel format.
It'll be more of an anthology. We might, I believe we perhaps were talking about rearranging the order of them a little bit.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll have to look at all that stuff when the time comes. But
We are planning to put out another physical product.
should have that. That'll contain all the stories, the short stories that we have up on the website now, and the poems that we have up there as well. And I think we're gonna try and put any art that we have, which isn't much at this point, but
Yeah.
up on.
Ask us about art.
I don't want to talk
I
about art.
don't want to talk about art either. Any artists watching this, you suck. Just kidding. Please send us stuff.
If you think you can actually produce something and work with us, let us know.
What has been the greatest difficulty in creating the magazine? Speaking of art.
That. Art is the greatest difficulty. I will look directly at the camera and tell you, as we all know, it was hard because it isn't our forte. So we had to sort of wing it. And we got some good results, but it just took a lot of time and effort. And again, we can't do everything, all of us at once. So we sort of had to cut our losses. I mean, it was a good experience. I'm glad we put out 2 issues. They looked great. In the end, it was an amazing time, but just trying to get everything to come together, and as well as being on top of the writing and the editing and everything else we were trying to do. Because we mentioned the blog, we were still doing things with that.
Right.
We were trying to get, push it out in other ways too. So it just became more convenient to.
Yeah, deadlines for artists
out
are,
to the front.
have been, in my experience, kind of tough to maintain. So, but not only that, I mean, doing the layout of the book, I had never done anything like that before, so that was kind of a learning experience. And I think it could have come out better, but at the same time, it didn't come out too badly. But it's a lot easier now that I'm not spending 7 or 8 hours doing that. The day before I wanted to come out, basically.
Anything else that that you like to mention?
Check out our site.
Yeah, just go to the site,
You want to
www.lifeafterdeath-comp.blogspot.com.
Try to remember it, but we have other.
or check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, we have other ways to check.
Which is Life After Death. No need for a slash or
Right.
comp.
Just
Yep.
throw in Life
Straight
After
up
Death.
Life After Death. You'll probably see a picture of this. So you can check us out in other ways on the various internets.
All 7 of them.
We also have business cards.
Yes. Well, gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you, J.E. Manzer.
Thank you.
Those of you watching us,
Anyone
read our
in the
shit.
audience, Thanks
Alright.
for reading.
Oh my, you look suave on the camera.
You're an asshole.